Okay, just a quick review for people who you may have seen it before. I brought it up the other day. I'm just going to do a quick review. I'm not going to go all the way through it, but I feel like that's a pretty accurate timeline as far as December all the way to March, again, April and beyond. Obviously, complete speculation, but it's interesting if you're trying to put pieces together for something that may or may not be coming. We have no idea, or some kind of interesting moves. These are some of the things I think, at least my take, the narrative that I could build from it. I put it into writing here as far as the benevolent whales making these big moves and stuff in the last few months. So very interested to see where it goes from here. And that's why I bring up April. Could we get a big pump in April? There's a lot of interesting things happening in April, and I think they're worth talking about. I think, maybe they add up to nothing, maybe they add up to something, but, both in our ecosystem, I'm gonna go back to nuclear herbs in a second, in our ecosystem and for, in general, like, I think there's a lot, Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin happening. I think a lot in general is interesting to talk about. So I'll tweet this today, actually in the chat, put if you know some more interesting stuff happening in April, put in the chat. I'd like to know about it. But big events happening in crypto for April. So Bitcoin happening, the 50-week shakeout. I forget the date, but it's sometime in April. I did projections the other day on PulseChain wallets, or PulseChain active wallets, and it looks like if we continue the momentum, it'll be around 1 million wallets. Again, that's projections. Who knows? Could slow down, could not make it, but it looks like in April we could hit 1 million active wallets with PulseChain, which is a pretty cool number. Something cool to happen. There's an update in SEC stuff, which I'll get into in just a minute. Or awesome resident attorney, Nuclear Herbs, talked a little bit about recently too, and he's going to come on the show around that time and to give us the full analysis, which I'm very excited about in April. So we get the SEC update, and that actually, let's cover that for a second. So, and this is, Richard was talking about the exchanges, and he brought up the case here against CoinMarketCap. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty interesting. Let me drop this in chat too. So if you look up the case, it talks about the lawsuit about CoinMarketCap not ranking hex correctly and all. I think there's been multiple. I think this is one of them, or maybe there's just one and there's different stuff going on. But I feel like there was, I don't know, somebody correct me if they know more about that. But there was one or more lawsuits about all this stuff. So Nuclear Herbs, who is awesome. Interesting that the case Richard cites was dismissed, lack of personal jurisdiction over the defendants. The same argument his attorneys led with in their initial letter to the court, where they noted they would be bringing a motion to dismiss. Richard's motion to dismiss is due in 2 weeks. So April 8th is the date. Yeah, April 8th is the deadline. He said, I'd be surprised if it wasn't filed before then, simply because the SEC's response date is already set. So why give them any extra days to work on it? So that's very interesting. And here he says, I'm sure he brought this up today for no reason whatsoever. I'm not sure what to read into. I was like, are you hinting that you think Richard is hinting about this possibly getting dismissed? I don't know. I'm not going to go. It's hard for me to just even imagine that. Obviously it's possible, but it's kind of like one of those dream scenarios where, like, you know what, you guys don't even have jurisdiction here, which again, there's precedent there. If you see, that's at least what, caused a slowdown or maybe impeded for the other motion. Funny enough, that we had with against CoinMarketCap, which was, you guys, there's no personal jurisdiction over the defendants on that one. So and he goes into some nuance here, which is pretty interesting too on CoinMarketCap. But just in general, I'm not holding my breath. Maybe he's half joking, maybe not. But how mega bullish would it be during this time if the case gets dismissed based on, again, the Chad lawyer's arguments, of one of which being the personal jurisdiction issue, which is pretty amazing. And we covered it on the show. We did analysis stuff a lot before. Again, I'm going to have Nuclear Herbs on. Very excited in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Talk about that probably somewhere around April 8th, probably maybe a day or two afterwards, after you get some time to fully deep dive into it. But that was pretty cool to hear. Again, optimistic, but man, that would be, I'm not even counting on that. That's definitely something I have no expectations of, it getting dismissed. But again, you got a legal team, billionaire genius founder guy hires a Chad legal team that wants to wants to keep giving the SEC some L's. There's momentum there. There's momentum. There's money behind it. We got a good cause behind it, of course, as well. Free PulseChain. There's that's exciting to me. I'm excited about it, at least. See how it goes. So again, what else is going on? We have Rail here posted a comment again. The exchange listing. Perhaps that happens. It sounds like Richard's maybe not thinking it's as valuable as it appears on different ways. Who knows? I mean, we're the community. Don't have to agree with them on everything. It could totally still happen and work well. It could totally still happen and not work well. It could fizzle out. Who knows? It could be rolled into another initiative too. I want everyone who is doing cool stuff like that. I mean, Coffee, whoever else is got a big part in it. Who is it? I forget. The first person I heard from wasn't even Coffee. It was Buck. Yeah, Buck and all of those guys. I know they really want to make sure the PulseChain, has exposure on all of these larger forums. So everyone working on stuff like this, I hope that one way or another they get rewarded and they don't feel like they're they're not appreciated for trying to take on some of these things. So I think it's really amazing, and we see a lot of the different founders and stuff in the community stepping up, donating to it too. I don't expect every individual in the community to donate to a lot of this stuff, but maybe some of the founders who, again, up to their own discretion whatsoever, no expectations. If they think it's a good idea and want to donate or otherwise, and come together, and it's still a thing. It doesn't get rolled into something else that people think is more effective or otherwise. I hope it all goes through and it's successful. So I think that's cool. I made a case for it yesterday. I was on stream. I clipped it and posted this morning about the case for why paying to get PulseChain on exchanges. I didn't really make the case for why it would be. Sorry, Rock, you're distracting me right now. I definitely highlighted the benefits. I still said it was kind of up in the air, but I definitely highlighted the benefits and the case to be made for doing it. So if you want to check that out, check out the latest videos this morning. I posted a clip of having about a 5 or 10 minute discussion with Donovan yesterday. That was pretty, I think, made some pretty good points and kind of laid it all out, not just this emotional, like, oh, of course it's good or of course it's bad. It's like, okay, what is the benefit? And I talked about that. So that was pretty, I think that turned out to be a good discussion. So again, March, what if we see more wallet activity, more buys and bridging, clarity one way or another, whether it's SEC or whether it's just in general about people participating in the community or in the ecosystem. And that's a runway for takeoff. That would be cool. Again, complete speculation. I have no idea, but I think it's cool. Like, it's cool to think about these things and just be like, okay, instead of just a million ideas just bouncing around, I don't know what to think, I don't know what to believe, I got all this uncertainty, all this thought everywhere. You know what? Having something that's at least sounds interesting and is plausible in some way whatsoever, why not? And you could take any narrative and be like, oh, that's not going to happen. Oh, that sounds really good. I think it's just about like having something interesting to talk about. And that could happen. And again, isn't just this fabricated, like, obviously that's not, doesn't make any sense sort of thing. So I don't know. I did put it out there for you to like buy it, even though apparently got 32K views, which is quite a bit for a tweet, at least in my domain. It's not for you to buy into this narrative that, oh, we're going to pump in April and it's going to be amazing. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening in April. So you never know. So I think that was interesting to talk about. And again, hex stakers, I did a thread on, let's see, let me pull up this one, how we could hit 132K stakers as well. Yeah, just looking at apex.win, really good stats place. So working on 1 million for PulseChain active wallets, and then working on 130K. Could get to 132K in April if all continues.